Hello guys, welcome to my channel, and if you are new here, my name is Julie and I am the author of the blog capturingwonderland.com. Pretty much everything DIY, home decor, and vintage goodies. Today I have a cute bonus video to share with you. Not super typical. I mean, I love old things and I love books, but my library has an annual book sale 2 times a year, and I always go and gather up all of the best goodies that I can find. Typically vintage children's books, either with authors, illustrators, or collections that I'm currently collecting. So I thought it would be super fun to just take you with me. I have my taro milk tea, or boba. And if you've never tried boba, you totally should. Absolutely delicious. And you can get it in your Walmart. So let's just jump right in. Okay. Let's start with some of the most expensive ones because I did spend some money. I spent about $100 and I think I got a fair amount of books for the price. Honestly, I feel like I got everything I wanted to get out of what I saw. So without further ado, the most expensive book that I brought home is Through Magic Glasses by Arabella B. Buckley. And she is a coveted author for the living book community. We love her books, all about science and such. I want to show you some of the inside. And it says, other lectures, a sequel to the Fairyland of Science, which I have. So I paid $20 for this book, and the reason why I did that was because I knew that it was worth at least that, if not more. And her books are obviously very hard to find. Let me see if I can find the date. 1890, very old. Victorian author. Let me see if I can find some more on the inside. There are some beautiful illustrations throughout, colored and black and white, which is so much fun. This one is colored. Just a really beautiful book with very valuable information. And I used to have a podcast where I read vintage or antique books like in the public domain out loud, and I have been considering starting that back up. So let me know in the comments if you would be interested in seeing a channel like that from me, because I would start a separate channel for that. And it's been on my mind, so it's probably coming in the future anyway. All right, the next one I feel like is a part of our curriculum. We do the Good and the Beautiful curriculum for our homeschool. And I'm pretty sure this was one that we wanted to read or have to read as a part of it because the name sounded very familiar to me. It's called The Beatenest Boy by Jessie Stewart. It's in kind of rough shape, but I just love having the old books versus buying reprints. It's my personal preference. I would rather have the antique or vintage version than a new reprinted version. Unless it's going to be something that my kids are going to be beating up, and then they can use the new version and I'll keep the old version. So yeah, this one was just a part of the children's section, which were 50 cents a book. So 50 cents. Another one that I paid a little bit more for, this one was $5. Life of David Livingstone. And partially I bought this because it's gorgeous, but then I also bought this because of David Livingstone, like the content of it. Published in 1888. So he was a missionary, an African explorer, and I just felt like this was a book that was worth bringing home. Beautiful and good content. Another one, Riley, Songs of Cheer. This one was $3 by James Whitcomb Riley, a poetry or a poet that I kind of collect because they have been a part of some curriculums that we have done in the past. I think Ambleside Online used his poems at least one season. So beautiful illustrations, beautiful poetry, just really good and rich literature. $3 for this one. The Little Colonel Stories. This one was $3 by Annie Fellows Johnston. And for those that are maybe a little bit older that know Shirley Temple, she had that movie, The Little Colonel, and I feel like the stories came from the movie came from these stories. So I have one downstairs. I just was not sure which one I had, so I felt like I was gonna pick this up anyway. There are black and white illustrations throughout, Another really fun book for $3. This one I think I already have, but whenever I find Kate Sarity, I'm going to pick it up. So this is The Singing Tree by Kate Sarity. Beautiful illustrations. This one was $5. Very beautiful. 1942, and it has beautiful illustrations throughout as well. This is a really beautiful story. We have read this one as a family and really enjoyed it. And like I said, I may have this book already, but I didn't know if I had this old version. So I went ahead and picked it up. This one I actually got on the cheap day, so the half price day. So this was 25 cents, and I don't know how I missed it the first time. This is by Jean Lee Latham. Jean Lee Latham, maybe it's a man, maybe, but I feel like he is an author that did some of the landmark books. The Frightened Hero, 1965. It has a really nice jacket on it that's been covered nicely. The library book, maybe. Totally worth the 25 cents in my opinion. Natalie Savage Carson, Sailor's Choice. And I cannot remember what other books she did at the moment, but I recognized her name and I knew that it was one of those good books. So I picked this one up. It's not too big to just be a story that we read together as a family. It will probably be fun. These I had to get because I have somewhat of an obsession. I used to use them with my oldest two kids, but we haven't used them in a while because we use other curriculum now, but I still pick them up when I find them. These are the antique versions of the McGuffey readers, and they have those beautiful embossed spines. I got the second and the third eclectic reader. They didn't have the first one. These were $2 a piece. And I don't know if these are reprints or not. It says 1920, but I really loved the embossed pieces over here, like the fronts. The spines, that's what it's called. So $2 a piece for the McGuffey readers. I love those, and I have two more little girls that are gonna start learning to read, and this one has, the third one has cursive in it, so I may have my 8-year-old read in this because he is still learning cursive. The Three-Seated Spaceship by Louise Slobodkin. This is typically an illustrator I will pick up, but every now and then I will pick up his written books as well. They just look kind of fun. So, 50 cents. I love Barbara Cooney. I love her illustrations, so that's the reason why I bought this one. The Crows of Pearl Blossom. I had never heard of Aldous Huxley or Aldous Huxley. I don't know how to say the name, but since I love Barbara Cooney, I went ahead and got it. I feel like I have several of her books, and they have always been charming, so just worth it to me. And I got 2 of these. Super excited to add to this. Let's find out what's big and what's small, and let's find out about houses. These were more expensive, oddly enough, $4 and $3, but they're in really good condition, and they are a part of the Let's Find Out series, which I collect. So really great to read with small children, like my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old. So these books will probably make it into their bedrooms. We'll probably just go through the series one by one. So I love adding on to them. This one is Mrs. Piggy Wiggle, which is another series that I collect, by Betty McDonald. I think it's kind of like in between Amelia Bedelia and Mary Poppins is kind of the vibes that it gives me. And I have several of her books, but some of them are in paperback. So I go ahead and pick them up when I find them in hardback because I prefer hardback. Rose Wilder Lane, Young Pioneers. And this is, okay, so she is obviously the daughter of Laura Ingalls Wilder. So she wrote her own books as well. Wild Plum Creek, her take on the pioneers and the stories of her parents and all of that stuff. And I do have one of her book series. I'm just not really sure what. And I saw the name and I automatically just decided I was going to pick it up. So I pick these up whenever I can find them as well, just because they're really cool beginning readers. The Follett Beginning to Read book, Picture Dictionary. I love the Follett books. I have a little collection of them going. They just have really cute illustrations and typically really adorable stories too. So it's literally just a picture dictionary, and in the back it has sentences and stuff like that. So I just thought it was really adorable. Another Follett Beginning to Read book by Esther K. Meeks, Something New at the Zoo. Again, beautiful illustrations. I really appreciate. I'm definitely a visual person. If a book is ugly, I really struggle with it. Like, I'm sure that sounds funny, but I really do. I struggle with it a lot because something has to be pretty for it to interest me. Otherwise, I'm just like, this is boring. The Man Who Changed China. This one was $5, but it is a part of the Landmark series and it does have its cover. So that's why I was fine with paying $5 for it. By Pearl Buck, and I have had several of her books in the past. She is a really coveted author, but some of her other books are much harder to read. So I feel like I would be much more likely to read something from this series than I would her other books, because this might shock you. I don't know, maybe not, but I am not a huge adult book reader. I would rather read children's books to children than read adult books to myself. Just not something I personally love to do. I never have, not even when I was a kid. I loved children's books, but that's the extent of it. The Far Frontier by William O. Steele and illustrated by Paul Galdone. So, an illustrator I like, an author I like. This one was $1. No, actually it was in the children's section, so I think it was 50 cents. But I love William O. Steele. I feel like he is a very good author. And I love Paul Galdone, so it's a plus for me. And it has the word for these is escaping my brain right now. I'll probably remember it by the end of the video, I hope, or I'll have to look it up because it's bothering me. Dust jacket. There it is. It has its dust jacket, and I always love books with dust jackets. This one, don't know if I have it. If I have it, it can go to my husband's classroom, but I do collect the nicer versions of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So this one is The Magician's Nephew. This one was $3, but again, it's a nicer version. So it's got that really nice dust jacket on it that has been covered and protected in plastic, so it will keep the book in better shape. So definitely worth it. This is another series that I collect, Colonial People, The Colonial Cook. So it's literally skills and like what each of their jobs were and like what they would do in their jobs, the history of it. And what I love most about this is typically books like this are just super long and their type is super small and they just feel really overwhelming for me and for children to look at or to listen to. I like condensed versions that can keep our interest. So I feel like this series does a really good job of making it to where it's not like I'm not looking at it and dreading reading it, basically. So I like the series and I will pick them up when I find them. This one is a part of the Illustrated Junior Library, a 1977 printing, The Wizard of Oz. I collect this series. I probably maybe have this one, but I wasn't sure, so I went ahead and got it anyway. But it has beautiful color illustrations. And again, why I like a bigger font, so it makes it much easier to read for me, to my kids, or if my children should want to read it, easier for them to read as well, versus those smaller versions of the books. Let's see, who was illustrated by? Evelyn Kopelman. This is a series that I collect again, and I have this book, but I don't know if I have it with the dust jacket, so I got it anyway because this one has a pristine dust jacket. All About the Weather. So All About Books is a series with really excellent topics. Ooh, that binding has like never been opened. Shocking. Larger font again, so easier to read, not like overwhelming. So I appreciate this series because it's got obviously information that is factual, but then it is presented in a very easy way. I guess I would say palatable for young minds and people with ADHD. This is an author that I collect, and I believe she is another landmark author, Clara Ingram Jedson, and I have this book, but I didn't care. I saw it and I picked it up anyway. And this is all about Theodore Roosevelt. Let's see. Pencil drawings by Lawrence F. Bjorklund. The Fighting Patriot. So just little pencil drawings, nothing spectacular, but again, the pages are easy to read. So not overwhelming for a biography type book, which I feel like most biography type books are super tiny print, super overwhelming, pages just full of words, no pictures. Like, that is why I love children's books, is because they are full of pictures, they're full of life, and they're condensed in a way that they are still written with great vocabulary, especially the vintage books, which is why I typically go for the older books, because the vocabulary was so much more rich. The language that they used was beautiful. It was more like poetry than it was just plain old everyday English. So I prefer old books because they knew how to write well, and typically without added filth to it. So I have, like, once you know pretty much an author or a series that are very aimed towards children back in the early ages here, like Victorian age to like the 50s maybe, they were much cleaner and had rich vocabularies and just really good storytelling skills. So I appreciate them. I have several because she did an entire like series of biographies on great men of history, and so I have several. I think she did like Abraham Lincoln and some of the other presidents. Some fun ones. That's Good and That's Bad illustrated by Aliki. It's an interesting little book. Very like 1970s, I don't know. But it's a cute little book. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know, but I feel like I have several illustrated by Aliki, and they're just kind of fun. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. This is one of our absolute favorite movies. Just getting the book was an obvious yes. It does have smaller writing, but the writing is very limited on the pages. Very easy. It's kind of like, I want to say cartoon, but that's not what I mean. Like Sunday comics type of thing. So, fun book. Oh, Mr. Youter and the Steamboat, written and illustrated by Glenn Rounds. I feel like this is another one where I go back and forth on him as an artist and like as an illustrator and his books. I don't pick up everything that he has because most of his illustrations just don't like draw me in. 50 cents. I thought we could read it, and if we don't like it, then we can just redonate it. So no harm, no foul. The Didikoi, a novel by Rumer Godden. This is another one of those authors that comes highly recommended, but most of her books are just, I don't know, small writing, and the pages are filled with it. And there are no pictures. But this one had a really beautiful cover, like dust jacket, and I didn't want it to end up in the dumpster. So I took it home, and if I don't want it, then I can give it to somebody else that will appreciate it. So sometimes I do that. I feel sometimes that books are there for me to rescue them. The Long Blonde Wig by Wilma Pitchford Hayes. And she is an author, again, from the Landmark series, I believe. Trying to see if there's any illustrations. There are some illustrations in here. I have several of her books, and we have not gotten to reading them yet, so I cannot tell you for certain. But if she's a Landmark artist, then I kind of trust that she is a pretty good author. I like these books. Harry and the Lady Next Door. These books about this little dog named Harry by Margaret Bloy Graham. And they're really fun books. Very similar in the stories of like Curious George. So this dog is always getting into trouble, going on adventures, and I just think it's cute. We have several of them. My daughter claims that we have that one. I'm not for sure, but maybe we do. I think she read through them all, so she would probably know better than I would. McBroom Tells the Truth by Sid Fleischman. And I have started collecting these books. I see, like when I see them, I pick them up. I don't always see ones that, like different ones. I see like the same ones over and over again. So when I see a new, like a different one, I'm sure to pick them up, like one that I've never seen before. And I had never seen this one before, so I went ahead and picked it up. Mark Twain, What Kind of Name Is That? By Robert Quackenbush. We live right next to the Mark Twain National Forest, and obviously Mark Twain is a really great author, but Robert Quackenbush, I believe, writes more humorous types of stories. So this should be interesting to read. You're going to like it here. Mark Twain is a lot of laughs and he loves cats. I didn't know that about him. I had never seen this in actual book form. This is like the first time I think I've ever seen this in book form. Usually I had seen, I've seen the DVD and the VHS. Obviously, it's one of our favorite things to watch at Christmas time, but I had never seen the book, so I was really happy to pick this one up. We really love this story. It's definitely a favorite. We own all of the versions of it, so. Half is Big and the Tiger, and the pictures are by Leonard Weisgard, which is an author and illustrator, so I tried to pick his stuff up. This one has very interesting illustrations, but it looks fun. Looks like a fun one to read to my kids, especially my little ones. Okay, this is a set, and I can never remember which ones I have of this. Like so many others, I really should categorize catalog my library downstairs, but every time I have tried, my brain goes haywire because it's just so all-encompassing. I feel like one of these days when I actually get a library where I can just like organize all of my books properly, then I'll be able to catalog them properly, and then I'll see the true extent of my obsessions. But these are the American Heritage Junior Library. This one has a dust jacket, so I was very excited about that. Discoveries of the New World. I feel like I have pretty much all of these. But they were 50 cents. Railroads in the Days of Steam. The Story of Yankee Whaling. It's extremely windy outside. It has been for the last couple of days. It's kind of crazy. I have the door open though because it's so beautiful outside. Naval Battles. I almost said batteries. Naval Battles and Heroes, Indians of the Plains, and Thomas Jefferson and His World. Now these books are probably not ones that I'm going to be reading all the way through. They are very more in-depth into the histories of each of these things. And I'm sure that they would be extremely beneficial to read them out loud. The Sage of Monticello. I feel like they gave us good options when we are studying certain people of history to go through and find out things about them that may not be in the curriculum that we're studying, so kind of enrichment type of things. So that's what I plan on doing with those. And then I have a few that are more updated type books, but I still feel like they have great value. So I Survived the Hindenburg Disaster of 1937. So these are kids' historical fiction. Easier to read, smaller books. So just a really good way to introduce history, I feel like, to your kids. And so I am happy to pick these up. I saw them at Walmart and I got a couple of them. I think I might have gotten the Titanic one, and then I don't know about the other ones. The Joplin Tornado, which is crazy because I was here for that, and that's only like 2 hours away from me. In 2011, I Survived the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. She has quite a few of these books, and I just feel like these would be very valuable, maybe for my 8-year-old and my 11-year-old, to try to get them more interested in history. I know I wasn't really interested in history when I was their age, so I don't really blame them. You just have to find a way to try to make it palatable for them. The Bridge to Terabithia. I hated this movie. Hated. It is so sad, but I actually got this for my husband's classroom. because I feel like it's a very popular read, probably, and probably a better one. Like Catherine Patterson is a good author, I feel like. So I just got it for him because I have zero desire to read this book or see the movie again because I bawled watching this movie. I can't do the drama. Can't. The Chipmunk Song by Joanne Ryder and Lynn Cherry. And I have another one of these books and I just think they're really charming. I love the illustrations in them. I am such a sucker for nature books. I absolutely love everything nature. And these are obviously very small amounts of just, children's books. So just a little bit of text and beautiful illustrations to draw your kids in. So these are definite favorites for me. Literally like what I want my backyard to look like right there. Dreams. Hashtag garden goals. So that's a good one. And then I absolutely love Jan Brett. I collect everything that I find of hers. Comet's 9 Lives. And this is just a book about this cat named Comet. And I love her illustrations. I love her style. I think that her books are fun. And books should be fun. They really should be. That was the very last one, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you've made it this far, I hope I have inspired you to get out there to your library book sales and rescue some of these beautiful and fantastically written vintage books that are falling through the cracks, and just by the hundreds they're being put in dumpsters and history is literally being lost. So makes me so sad. And then there's the crafters that take antique books and, these extremely rare books, hard to find, that are fantastic and worth so much money, or worth so much to some people that would actually like to read them, and they're just being destroyed in crafts, which really bothers me. I don't mind some of it because there are a lot of junk books out there, even old ones. Like, not every old book is worth something, but there are quite a few that are worth a lot of money and worth it a lot to certain groups of people that want to use them and want to read them and want to enjoy them for what they were meant to be. I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Want to see more of it? I will probably do it anyway because I love books and it's just an integral part of my life, part of my home decor, part of pretty much everything. So yeah, if you are not, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I would welcome you with open arms to this community here at Capturing Wonderland. And of course, if you love everything DIY, home decor, and vintage types of things, go and head to my website, capturingwonderland.com, and you can follow me at Instagram at capturing_wonderland. And I would love to chat with you. So I'm a very talky person, if you have not noticed yet. Thanks so much, guys. I'm actually going to start working on some other things that I want to share with you this week, like a spring foraged. I'm actually hoping to go and forage a spring centerpiece and start building out some things for my spring dining room tablescape sort of thing here that I have ideas in my head for, kind of like a Mr. McGregor's garden type of thing going on. So lots of fun stuff happening here. Started moving my daughter into her bedroom last night, and we're gonna start doing some of those small projects that go along with finishing up her bedroom. So I'm excited to share it with you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.